Minister, it's great to be here. Can you tell us a little bit about the announcement that you've made this morning?
Well, Tim, I'm delighted to be here. And, it was a good announcement this morning. As you probably recall, we've committed $240 billion to our Canada First Defence strategy. And we're doing that to invest and make sure that our troops get the equipment that they need to do their job protecting us and our values abroad. But we figured it's time to take advantage of that investment. We want to leverage that so that we're getting benefits right across the country. And in doing so, we'll create high value, high paying jobs. So this morning, Minister Nicholson and I were very pleased to announce what we're going to be doing, and it's something called leveraging, where Canada will get a lot more benefit out of our military spend. And I really have to take this opportunity to say thank you to CADSI for all your help in putting this program together. Your members have given us lots of good ideas, and your support has been invaluable. So thanks so much.
Well, it's been our pleasure to be involved with you along what is amounted to a 6-year journey, almost from the day the Canada First Defence Strategy was announced and the government stated its intention to acquire the equipment needed by the men and women in uniform to perform the jobs asked of them by the government, and to do so in a way that is able to benefit the Canadian economy and the 109,000 workers that play in the or operate in the Canadian defence industry. So thank you for your leadership on this. How specifically do you and your government see our membership, for instance, the 1,000 companies that are part of our members and the hundreds of other companies that are in this sector benefiting from today's announcement?
Well, there are going to be a number of ways in which they can benefit. One is from having a better sense of where we're going, but secondly, they'll be getting support from the Government of Canada in recognizing their contributions to Canada in their response to our request for proposals as we do procurement. We're going to be changing the way that we evaluate those proposals. In the past, when it came to giving points on proposals, we looked at the technical data and we looked at the cost and we weighted and we rated those. Anything that was put down as an investment in Canada, an industrial benefit to Canada, was only rated on a pass-fail basis. Mm-hmm. So somebody could put a little thing down or a big thing, and it didn't make any difference. They still got the pass. We're going to change that to something called a value proposition. And that is going to account for, we estimate, about 10% of the evaluation of the proposal. So the value proposition is going to be weighted and it's going to be rated. And what we're going to do is consult with industry through early industry engagement in the procurement process to determine how that value proposition will be structured, mm-hmm. and how it will be weighted on a case-by-case basis.
I wonder whether there's anything at this early stage that you might be able to say more specifically about thresholds in respect of value proposition on upcoming defence procurements.
Well, what we're looking at doing right now is break the procurements down into 3 different categories that will be treated differently. Anything from $25,000 to $20 million, we're going to look at the potential for Canadian content. But from 20 million up, we're going to review the opportunities for value propositions in those procurements. Anything $100 million and up, we'll definitely be looking at the value proposition as well as a comprehensive industrial technical benefit to Canada.
That's great. We obviously, as a membership of 1,000 companies, the majority of our members are small and medium-sized enterprises. So your recognition of the lower dollar value contracts will be, I hope, of particular interest and appeal to our smaller members who would probably see themselves excluded from the larger contract value. Have you thought through some of the areas or sectors that you believe the value proposition idea or the leveraging idea in general might apply to?
Well, recently Tom Jenkins came out with a report in which he identified key industrial capabilities, things where Canada already has international strength relative to our competitors. And so we're going to be building on those. Let's take what we've got and make it stronger. And we recognize that Canadian companies have those things, so we'll be looking at things that could support the advancement of those key industrial capabilities, or as we call them, KICs, as in kickstart. So we'll be looking at things like intellectual property, technical data transfer, R&D, innovation? What about high value job creation? That is high value both in terms of highly skilled and high paying jobs. And also, and particularly, the development and growth of export potential.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how this new regime and improvements to defense procurement announced today will play from an R&D perspective in particular?
Well, there are two aspects to that, really. The first is the KICs, the key industrial capabilities. We've Jenkins identified some. We've refined that list and broken it out a bit, but we want to work with industry to further refine and define the list so that companies can determine, all right, these are things that are going to be highly valued when the government evaluates their proposals for procurement, so they'll know in the future where to invest their dollars, their time, and their energy. But also, key part of this is that national defense is going to be producing a defense acquisitions guide, which is basically going to be a list of key procurements that they're planning to make over the next 5 to 20 years. Now, what that will do is signal to industry what the requirements are going to be 5 to 20 years out, so industry can figure out where to invest their time and energy in developing products that will meet those needs. And the good news is that that first acquisitions guide is due to be published in June of this year.
So what you've just said, we hope, will serve to enhance the ability of Canadian companies to be prepared for the day when the government comes to market with a specific project, because they will have had the time to invest in people and in technology and create partnerships so that when that project comes to market, they'll be able to compete successfully for it, which will be good for the Canadian economy, and we believe ultimately good for the Canadian military. So we thank you for that initiative as well. Tell us what you can about today's announcement in respect of its impact on defense exports from Canada.
Well, we're hoping that that will be significant. As I say, Canada has certain things. Canadian companies do certain things better than others in the world, mainly because we've had experience at it. And as a simple example, protecting the soldier or dealing with Arctic situations. We've got a lot of expertise in that. And so we want to support, as a government, we want to support the companies in Canada that have that expertise so that they can develop their exports. And that will be part of the value proposition evaluation. But our Minister of International Trade, Ed Fast, has been completely supportive of this initiative. And he wants to make sure that his efforts and those of our foreign affairs officials around the world are aligned with what we're doing.
Minister, you know that 50% of the revenue that's generated by our sector comes from international sales. So any efforts from a whole of government perspective to promote the sector internationally will be extremely well received.
Well, and the part I'm particularly pleased with is that all of the departments are working together in the same direction on this. So foreign affairs, international trade, public works, national defense, it is a whole of government effort, and it's nice to have everybody rowing in the same direction.
Representing a group of 1,000 companies, many of whom, if not all of which, are looking at quarterly financial statements and wondering where their next order is going to come from. Tell us how quickly you hope for this new initiative today to be implemented.
So right now, my officials are going to be working with industry, working with your members, consulting, explaining what it is we're doing, seeking their feedback so that we can make some modifications as necessary. And they're going to be starting that right away. That's the good part. As well, the Defense Acquisitions Guide is going to be coming out in June. So we're moving quickly, but we want to get it right at the same time.
What's this going to apply to?
Well, as I say, we want to get this going as quickly as possible. So we're looking at taking advantage of existing opportunities in procurements that are coming up. A couple of examples would be the marginal terrain vehicles, the headquarters shelter system projects, and even the medium lift helicopter. So we're going to be looking at things, how we can take advantage of things that are upcoming and apply the process to those and get the whole program started as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that too is good news. You've spoken to land-based procurements and to aerospace-based procurements. You are in charge of the largest acquisition of naval and Coast Guard vessels in the history of this country as well under the National Shipbuilding Procurement Strategy. And I'm sure there'll be a number of our members who will be looking eagerly for indications of how this new regime will be able to apply to that cross-section of fleet acquisitions that are in the works.
Well, what we're going to be doing is setting up information sessions right across the country where your members can come, be consulted, and learn more about the program. And quite frankly, I'd invite everybody to go to buyandsell.gc.ca to look up the dates and locations of those consultations, because up until now, CADSI has been absolutely instrumental in how we've been able to develop this program and move it forward. I want to thank you again for that. And so we want to make sure that cooperation and continued consultation exists. And so the best way to do it is for them to come out so we can hear directly from them how we can make this program the best it can possibly be.
Well, today is an important milestone in the development of and delivery of a commitment made by your government, initially through the Canada First Defence Strategy, subsequently through Budget 2011 language, and then on to Budget 2013 language. And so we recognize and thank you for the leadership you've shown, the determination of the Government of Canada to deliver on commitments that it has made over a series of years. And rest assured that we will continue to work with you and your officials on these very important issues as they are implemented to advantage Canada.
Well, thanks very much to you and all your members, Tim.
Thank you very much, Minister.